Ross, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Grant?
Yeah, really well, thank you. And grateful to have you here today. And looking forward to gaining insight on your experience of being part of the Primal Ascension program and what the last 12 or so weeks have looked like for you. And really just uncovering what this journey of transformation for you personally and the spillover into your marriage has played out. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this today.
You bet. Glad to help out. It's been a good journey. Really enjoyed it. Had some apprehension at first, but looking at where the marriage was at and what my wife was encouraging is like it's always worth trying it. Never hurts to try something different and see if it'll help us out. And it did. So,
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I'm looking forward to getting a little bit more of an uncovering of what that journey's been for you. So let's kick it off. Before we get into the specifics of the journey itself, would you mind sharing a little bit about where you were before you joined the Ascension program?
yeah. So before joining the program, my wife and I have been married coming up on 6 years in August. So I joined back in March of this year. And it was good, but it was one where my wife has a little history and that plays in, but it was I was probably more defensive and didn't know it, but defensive. Anything she would come out and ask me to do, I didn't think about doing that, or if it fit my convenience or it fit my time of the day, then I would go off and help her with it. But if it's doing some simple task or sitting down to chat and talk, I wouldn't necessarily do that. I would either shut it down or get defensive, mainly because of just not knowing any different. Didn't have growing up, didn't have, I would say, I had a good, healthy home life, but didn't have a model to where that was showed like just being a gentleman, how to help out your spouse, think of your spouse. And so before that, I would say at least maybe once every 3 weeks, once every 2 weeks, we'd probably have a blow up, if you will, argument where my wife was not happy with me, not helping with the girls, or just only doing what was asked, but not thinking ahead. Like, okay, upstairs today, both my daughters are playing. My wife's a little stressed. There's parties, so I need to do the best I can to juggle my day job and help her. Those kind of thoughts were not as present. It was, hey, I got to go do my job and take care of the house, which you still have to make those boundaries. But there's probably some discussions there. My wife was probably hurt by it, didn't feel safe, feel like she could trust me through that too, because it didn't breed a safe environment to where she could relax and feel like she didn't have to take on everything from not planning meals, but just little things like I'm getting ready to go to church. We got to pack all these things, or we're going to go out to the park today, and taking the girls. And all of that mental load is something that she was saddled with that I, like, probably a fool, show up and like, okay, we're ready to go. Granted, I know that we have to do some things, but the amount of thinking ahead, planning ahead for all the different variables in the day, and she thinks 20 steps ahead. Those are things that didn't occur to me as much. And I didn't realize by me not doing some of the things like thinking ahead, taking the load off, just picking up flowers, or just, hey, I've already got the girls dressed, ready to go. Just let's get in the car. I've already got all that. Those little things hit and miss for me to do, but me not doing that consistently, that really added up in my life. And that's where some of those explosions or arguments would come from. That's also where the defensiveness would be rooted in for me, was just defending my position, being defensive without knowing it as well. You know, I think it's just me going in and just putting up a reason. Hey, here's why I didn't do it. On the flip side, that's defensiveness. So, and in discussions too, like my wife would want to chat, talk, and I would not shut the conversation down, but I didn't really empathize or could come in and help her with her emotions. So that would also lead to my wife telling me, hey, you just don't seem like you're engaged. You don't really care, when I do, but again, didn't realize that on the flip side, if my body language doesn't show it, if my tone, if I'm not asking follow-up questions, all that led to her feeling like she wasn't in a safe space to share and be herself. And that led into trust too. So
Mhm.
like that's kind of the gist of where it was before. Not on the brink of divorce, anything like that, but it's just, hey, I need you to do more, and we've tried several things. This is probably something you should look at to help because she needed it, quite frankly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So relatable. A lot of what you said there is very relatable for myself in where I was before I went through everything as well. So I love how you've expanded on all of that. And it's also good to hear that last bit you said about like it wasn't on the brink of divorce. It wasn't, like this is do or die, but there was these ripples and explosions, these cycles and patterns occurring. And
Yeah.
what's really great in how you've described it is the self awareness you've now got about all of these little factors and how they were building up and what
Hmm.
that meant for the relationship. Um, and I think it just shows the difference on not having a clue where those things are playing a part before, and now you can really link them all together, and it was really powerful to hear. Um,
Yeah.
Within all of that, then, what was the main reason that made you wanted or made you want to join the program or actually take a good consideration or look at it?
I would say there's a couple things there, and I would add to me personally when my wife would when we'd have a discussion or a disagreement. She has a critical tone, so that created some fear in me. Like, just do whatever it takes to make my wife happy. Not a good thing either. That also breeds some issues. But um, because of that, what made me want to join the program was actually the videos. So my wife's on Instagram. We have a joint account, and scrolling through there, I don't know how she came across your program, but she had taken an interest in it, and I would say it was probably sometime 6 7 months ago. Maybe it was this time last summer. She started following you and seeing all the videos, and that tripped her trigger in a good way. And she had mentioned something about your program a year ago and just your background. And at the time, I was like, okay, that sounds pretty good. I didn't think anything of it, like there's something wrong or that we need to do something. But she pitched it up and teed it up to me as a, hey, here's some things that another guy went through, and here's some steps that he took to get himself back on track. And I thought about that. And I was like, that's pretty good. I didn't think anything else of it until probably February or so. Like, my wife and I have been through different counseling, seen different counselors ourselves. We've been through even a program at our church too called Biblical Soul Care, and all of that. And we've been hooked up with mentor couples. And through all that, those are good. Those are fine. But I think the thing I was telling my wife the other day that it lacked somebody that's literally sat in my seat or has gone through the same path. And the difference is we've gone through and had different mentor couples, or we've been to different counselors to, again, we weren't on divorce, but we were sitting there just needing to figure out what's the difference between Venus and Mars, Ross and Jill. What's the difference, and where can Ross come in and help? Where can Jill come in and help? And what's going on there? Through all that, everybody else has never sat in the seat that I'm sitting in, or even my wife, and that she's sitting in, except for you. You've been through it. You've seen it, done it. And that was the big kicker. Is I saw that. I was like, I can relate. So there was something in me that just it triggered in a good way. Like, I can relate because I believe this guy has already gone through it. And you feel like you've been understood before I've ever met you, from a standpoint of nobody else can walk through and say, you've done this, you've been through all this, and here's the steps to get out of it. Everybody else has been through school, been through counseling training. But until they walk through it, it's harder to come in and give you better advice and better coaching. And what finally did it was probably at the end of March after the last blow up. My wife said, "Hey, this is a program I want you to see. Would you sit down with me and listen to one of his calls?" And it was like the end of March. He had a Friday night call, and we had just gone through a blow up ourselves. And I listened to it, and there was a lot of good things that I was hearing there, and that's what really sold me on it. And then the next day, my wife and I just went ahead and set up a call with her or Nor, and to learn more about it after your Friday night call. But I would say it came off the heels of another blow up, but also my wife is just like, I got to do something to fix it, and I don't know what. But your material intrigued me, your calls intrigued me. It's been on my wife's heart, and it's intrigued her for a long time. And she pushed and didn't give an ultimatum, but said, "I really think you should do this." And what's there to lose? You know, it's we've already paid lots of money to counselors. We've gotten some help, but nothing stuck. Nothing was sticky. That was the difference.
I
And
love
I would add your directness, right? My There's something different about somebody that's just in your face, if you will, direct, being yourself, calling somebody else out
Mhm.
instead of, "Oh, you didn't go and take your wife for a date. You know what? That's okay. Try again next time." No, it's you know what? You really need to do this. Otherwise, you're going to be like me. Like, you can give example after example, and some people say, "Well, what about his language?" I used to be a mechanic. I'm used to people cussing F bomb deluxe in me. It's fine. My job, I get chewed out every day. Par for the course. Bring it on. It's directness is what hits me hard. And that's what gets me to change. So that was also a good thing. Like, don't take that as like, that's a bad thing. No, sometimes you got to have somebody get in your face like a Marine and those things. So, wife pushing and your directness, you've been through it yourself. That really spoke volumes to me.
I love that because I think in the way that you're describing it as well, there's no twisting your arm, forcing you to
Mhm.
do it. It's been something that you can comprehend, sit with, and you've come to a conclusion based on relatability.
Yep.
And I'm glad that that sat with you because in all of just what I do and how I do it, that for me is so important. It's like exactly as you said, I've been here. I
Mhm.
know what it's like to not be getting on with your wife and wonder what the fuck I'm doing. So I love that that was a big determining factor for you and that that hasn't changed throughout the entire program. You know, you said that there's so many examples that I've been able to give and share and support with because I have lived it. I have lived it. So did you have any skepticism or concern before joining? And if you did, how did you
Yeah.
feel about those after you joined?
Well, like anything else, right? Is it a clickbait? Is it, hey, come and see this whiz bang marketing ploy, right? You get bombarded with so much stuff on social media. Here's the latest thing to lose weight. Here's the latest whatever. So yeah, there was skepticism, more of let's see. And then that put me on a little caution. It did my wife too, because she's very aware of it. I felt better about it after seeing how long my wife has been following you on Instagram and showing me the videos like consistently. That alleviated those concerns. Your videos are real, they're raw, they're not doctored, they're not fake, they're not BS. It's straight up, here's who I am. Take it or leave it. You don't really care. If you want my help, you're gonna take it. That helped. But then after your call, my wife and I sitting there together at the table at the call, actually down here in the basement where we're doing this call at. When we sat through that, and some of the dripping of, are you like this? Do you do these things? And women, do you need this? Like, those things resonated so strongly with my wife and I that that cleared up my concern of, is this a real program? Is this some junk clickbait guy? That cleared it up. So did it did as well for my wife. Um, and I would say after we had the call with Nora and we got set up, one of the things she says is, hey, are you ready for the commitment of the meetings twice a week? Are you ready for the commitment of all of the schoolwork? It's going to take you all week. And there was concern there because, okay, much like yourself, we got two girls. I got a 4-year-old. I got a 2.5-year-old. I got my wife that stays at home with my daughters all day, so she needs help at night. I cook. Like, you got all of that, and then there's a full-time job somewhere there too. Where am I going to squeeze extra time in to do this? And we figured it out, because if you're going to make something work, you're going to do whatever it takes to get it done. Just get up at 4 a.m, start watching the videos. If you're driving down the road, like, you can get all that done. And that was my concerns, and that's how I got around it. And then after you look at the price, it's like, if I get access to all the content, all the meetings, that's the difference, right? You pay counselors, you walk out with nothing except some good advice and somebody that listens to you. After getting into the content and hearing, hey, for the price you pay, you get the recordings, you get the content, you're also part of an accountability group. That, like, it blew all of those concerns away and it settled it off. And after the first call, and after working through the first 2 sections of content on, here's the immersion, here's what this program is about, here's the health. What floored me and took all my concerns away is going through the health side of it. The diet, the supplements, the exercise. It's not just learning how to be a different individual. It's also getting your house in order from a health standpoint, from an exercise standpoint. All of that and the content and that very first meeting took all my concerns away. That's a long-winded answer to say it didn't take but like one meeting and I'm all in.
Yeah. That's great to hear, though, because I think that you share that experience with, I would confidently say, all of the other gents that have joined the program, in that I give you so much more than what you think you're getting. And it's great to hear that alleviated so many concerns, because you're absolutely right. If you haven't got your house in order, it's going to be limited on what you bring to the relationship and the material or physical house of the family, and how that's going to be helped and improved as well. So it's nice to hear that alleviated any concerns or worries that you had, and set a nice strong foundation. And as well, it took one call, 2 sections of content, and that's all in the first week, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got,
Yeah.
technically, you've then still got the 12 weeks thereafter to follow. So I love that was able to settle you in and set you up for success for the rest of the journey. So could you give us insight into your experience of the program as a whole before we talk about really the biggest takeaways you've got, like the 12 weeks themselves? Give us a flavor of what your experience was in the program in its entirety.
Open your mouth up and get a fire hydrant in front of you, because you are in it. And if you can catch a little bit of all the content, like, you're not going to remember everything, but you are drinking from a fire hydrant. Because from not even week 1, from pre-week 1, before we even met, and you're going through the pre-content, then through the 12 weeks of content, it's full on and drinking from the fire hydrant. And it's a good thing. There's so much rich, good information that you have that are in video form with the notes, that is, a lot of it, it's not rocket science. It's common sense. It's a simple reminder of, hey, did you just go in and ask your wife today, hey, what can I do to help you? Instead of just going and doing what you think is going to help, and she blows up on you, and you're left with, well, why did you get mad at me? He's like, well, Ross, did you actually ask me what I needed? Oh, stuff like that. Common sense things from week 1 to week 12. There's a lot of good content, and you're going to take a lot of notes. Like, the biggest insights that helped me is you're not going to get it right in 12 weeks. You are not going to be perfect. You're not looking for perfection, but you are going to change as long as you are willing to do the work. And it means from week 1, taking all the notes down to week 12, which is okay. You're at the tail end, but you need to keep making goals every day, every week. Are you sitting down meditating? Are you sitting down and writing down your thoughts? All of that is been eye-opening because it's common sense. It's easy to do. You just need to slow down and think about the other person and what they need. That's probably been the biggest one, is just it's so much information that's rich. The next one is like defensiveness. Didn't realize how big an issue that for some folks, anger, defensiveness actually shuts down your partner, and how I can help make my wife feel safe. And it's by just shutting my mouth, sitting there listening. Like, I didn't realize how much I was hurting her and shutting down her conversation when I just didn't just sit, be quiet. It's amazing. She will talk and talk and talk, and then don't throw in little nuggets, but diving in. And if that door is open, keep walking through every door that she opens up. So fire hydrant, rich content, it's all common sense things. And finally, if you do all of that, I've seen a big change in myself. My wife has told me that, but I've also noticed she's calmer, and I've noticed that I'm able to keep a conversation alive and keep it going. Because I'm not a very, I'm the guy that comes out of the mountains once a year to get stuff and go back up. I care less to talk to a lot of people because I do that in my job. That's a downfall because my wife suffered from that, and because of it, like, it's keeping those conversations alive. And fear, like you address fear in one of the week's content. Nobody cares about what you're thinking. Nobody, like, there's nobody out there that's going to care about, oh man, Ross dressed himself wrong today. They don't care about it. They're more worried about who are they going to climb over to get what they want. So that was also a bigger issue for me. So the insights you gave on just fear, how to get around it, don't care what other people think, like all of that has been huge for me. Every single week, there's a nugget to get.
Yeah, nice. I love that. The simplicity, again, the relatability, the fact that it is drinking from a fire hydrant, but then also the practicality of it, because clearly that absorption of all of that has easily been transferable into what you've done, how you've done it. You said your wife has witnessed the change in you, you've witnessed the change in the dynamic at home. So it's a digestible fire hydrant, should we say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna get some of that steak flying out and chew on it. Sometimes you're gonna swallow it and it's all good.
Yeah, nice. And one question I would like to ask on that is, sometimes gents are hesitant about the attendance, the mandated attendance. You know, you get the opportunity to attend 24 live sessions over the course of the program, and I make it compulsory that if you're going to stay with the program, you have to attend at least 20. How did you find that as part of the experience and the live sessions themselves?
So I'd say, like, at first, right? We've got a Tuesday call, we have a Saturday call. Saturday calls are easy, and yeah, you can work around some things with family. The Tuesday ones, I thought it'd be like, for my job, I can move around things and I can make that commitment a reality. But there's always in the back of my mind, maybe I'm going to miss one or two in case the customer issue comes up. After the first call, you don't have to worry about it. I wasn't worried about missing a call. I wasn't dreading a call, because you think as many meetings as you go through in a day, some of them are like nails on a chalkboard. Like, this person just shut up. I got 10 million other things to do. After the first call, I never had one thought about that. There was no issue. This was the priority. I'm going to it because I am growing, hands down. So that made no issue on Tuesday calls. Saturday calls, we had some family events, but after my wife saw how committed I was to it, and she saw the changes and what feedback I was telling her, just here's some things that I've learned today. She had no issue with it. And I didn't think she would. She pushed me towards it, but you never know when it cuts into family time. All on board, never missed a call. In fact, I was thinking about this the other day. I did miss the Tuesday call this week. That was the first call I missed, and that was after the 12 weeks, simply because I didn't check Discord to see if I'd been pushed off because of the normal, hey, you're done with 12 weeks, then you're downgraded a little bit. And I completely missed it. So that's on me. But like, there was no worry, or it was top of mind all the time. That was the commitment. That was the priority, because you don't have a dry call, and you make it interactive, you make it fun, but you also are real. Every call you've had, all 24 calls, there was never once where it was the same content. There was never once where I thought to myself, well, Grant said that last week, 2 weeks ago. There's the repeating themes, which is, guys, nobody's changing you except for you. Nobody's coming to save you. That's the theme. But there's different themes every call. There was never a repeated content. And just for that sheer fact. And the other thing is, because you are so relatable, Grant, that's what came through. Hey guys, we're going to talk about fear. And you go right back to what your own experience was. Wife's telling me that we're heading out the door and you're sitting in the chicken coop. It's like there's 24 examples where not a one of them was a canned response out of a textbook. It was real, authentic. It was your own experience that you were drawing from. That's why it was easy to come to every call, and I never missed one. I never had to think about it. It was, hey, it's Tuesday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I got a call for 2 hours, and I loved it. Sometimes it went to 2.5 hours, and that was the priority. That was so easy to get on the calls. There's never been an issue there. If you're committed to it, you're going to make it a priority. Plain and simple.
I love that. And for me, that's the basis of anything that we do. If we're genuinely serious, we can commit. And it's really nice just to hear, and I think for anybody listening, to know that even with something like that commitment being imposed up front, because the accountability is necessary, right? It's needed. It's great to hear that it very quickly become, this is a no-brainer. Like, I have to be here. This is a priority. I'm growing. I'm getting the benefit. And also, I really appreciate the feedback there of that no session was the same. There was always an experience to draw on. There was always something relatable, and you never felt like it was just a rinse and repeat. And yeah, there's the core content for the 12 weeks, and those live sessions gave more to those. And I really appreciate hearing that, because for me, that's the real life. It's going, yeah, there's all this core content. This is going to help you and change and grow and evolve. But here's real life, how it played out. Like, this is how it was applied, and this is what you can do with that as well. So I love that you've got that experience, because that's really important for me, for you to go through. So what would you say the biggest change has been as a result of the program for you?
I would say the two biggest ones, and there's been three. Number one, defensiveness. that is 0 to 1. It's non-existent, or maybe it'll rear its head maybe once a week. Now it's probably once a month. I think the other day my wife said, hey, you were a little defensive there. And that was the first time I've heard her say that in a long time, like probably a month or so. So that's gone down. That's heading towards 0. And it goes back to be quiet, listen to her. And I would say the second thing is getting in touch with my wife's emotions and helping her. And to do that, I have to get in touch with my own feelings, my own emotions. Where's my head at? What am I feeling? And that's an area that's still going to have to take a lot of growth. One of the archetypes, the lover, the creative piece, going out and making getting those fun, creative plans made, the fun, that's where I still lack. But those pieces, lack of defensiveness now, helping with emotions, helping see the needs of the family, see the needs of my daughters, my wife. As I say all this, it's not perfect. I still screw up, but it's being aware of it, and I can reference back to the content. If I'm having a rough week, I can go back and look at it and be reminded, take notes. Hey, this is where I screwed up at. Those are the two biggest takeaways for me. And then we're getting there, but helping my wife feel like she can trust, and helping her feel like she's in a safe space. And again, that's not all aces, it's not all tens. We're that takes time, by action, not by me saying it, but what am I doing? And that's going to take a lot more time, but we're on the path forward. That's the big three.
I really appreciate the honesty there, because that's real life. You know, the ability that you've got now to reflect, see where things can be improved, where you can evolve, knowing that you've got the content to refer back to for a bit of a refresher, because it is evergreen. It's applicable at any point in your life and in your relationship. And then to know that there are ebbs and flows all the time. Because one of the things that I get really annoyed at with this space is thinking that there's going to be this picture perfect rainbows, bells and whistles, unicorns relationship at the end of doing any work. And it's just not the case, because it's not real. And I love the fact that you've shared that, to go that you're not perfect. You're not getting it right every time, nor will you ever. I don't. And I've been doing this for a number of years now. But you feel confident that, in exactly as you've said, you are on the right path. You are moving in the right direction. You see it, your wife sees it, you feel like you're building trust. And yeah, things like trust and emotional security, they take time. But it very clearly stands out that you are confident in the journey and the road that you're on now, individually and together. It's all coming to fruition. It's all starting to show itself. Do you feel that's what's happening?
I do. Yeah. Everything that I've learned and implementing, it's starting to show itself more and more in positive ways. You see the change. You see some of the old habits, the bad habits, or even the reactions that either my wife would have or myself are dying off. They're less and less. Um, I think you said at one point a goal for having a disagreement or an argument is probably once a month. I'd say we're there. The goal is to get it down to less than once a month. So there is definitely change there. And yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It is.
Yeah. And how would you describe things between you and your partner now in relation to where they were just 3, 4 months ago?
I'd say they've improved quite a bit, substantially, on just for the sheer fact she's seeing the change, she's seeing the words and the actions line up. She's feeling safer. She's feeling able to trust. She's able to come in and share more with me that wasn't existent before. And I'm feeling also myself more confident in my abilities to approach my wife, bring up an issue, whether it's something I did and she did, a conversation that we need to go back to, and really go back and understand what her concerns were, um, everywhere. But I see the growth with us, and she's trusting now. She's feeling more safe, and it's continuing to grow. It's something that, as I talked with my own wife, is there's times, and each guy shares too. Hey, it feels like I just regressed or had a memory lapse or something. That still happens, and that's because I'm not applying myself. I'm not thinking through it. But I think maybe a false expectation that my wife has, and maybe I set this up wrong, was that after 12 weeks it would be like way more improved. But I remind her it's like 12 weeks is just the start. There's a huge change, but it's always going to get better, better over time. So
I love
she
that.
sees that.
I love that self-expectation management and the recorrection of that. Because a lot
Mhm.
of people, they do feel that change needs to be immediate. And with that immediate change, it will be indefinite. And nothing in our life is that way at all. And so it's nice that now you feel like you've got skills, massive change has happened, but really the massive change is a catalyst for more change, for more growth. And it's one thing that I've tried to make sure that everybody understood with my own journey. It was, for me, it was 6 to 9 months before my wife really thought that change had occurred and we were going on a much better path than the one that we had been on previously. So the sheer fact that you sit here after 12 weeks, knowing that all this has shifted in the right direction, you've done it twice as fast as me, maybe even 3 times as fast as me. And so that's really powerful to hear. But I just love that you've been able to have that conversation with your wife to be like, look, this is just the start. Things are going to keep evolving and growing from here. They're going to keep getting better. You've got the tools, you've got the skills, you're revisiting it, you're reflecting. And that's what the journey's all about. It really is, because there lies the commitment, and none of us are perfect. We want to believe that we are, but we're not, because we're human. We have to have the dark and the light. We have to have the good and the bad. We have to have that ebb and flow. And so it's nice to really get that real life experience from you to be like, it's not all perfect, but it's getting significantly better. It's moving in a great direction in comparison to where it was headed. What about for you personally? How do you feel about you compared to 12, 16 weeks ago?
I'd say I feel much better. Just an awareness of what I need to focus on. So the defensiveness is top of mind, emotional security and support for my wife, as well as overcoming feelings of fear, inadequacy, as far as just confidence as a man, as my spouse's husband, and helping in day-to-day activities, conversations, not being um, lackadaisical or lacking initiative, and feel much better about the ability to take initiative, dealing with stressors, anxieties, how to handle those better, how to come in to just help my wife through any issues that she has, or anybody really, and making them feel safe. So I see that growth. I also see on the, just the nutrition, the training, naturally the weight loss, the energy that's come up substantially as well. And continuing on that, that's been huge benefits as well. That you just feel as you change your diet, your energy changes for the better. And my wife's noticed that too through all the different aspects. And then just having a healthier path to a healthier relationship, I can see all that change in myself. But I also know that you have to stay on top of it daily, otherwise it can drop.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And again, I really like that indirect benefit that you're seeing, because all of that stuff, the nutrition, the training, the meditation, the journey, all that, it's subpar to the core content itself. It's just additional. It's prep. It's getting you in the frame of mind to lay a foundation to do all the core stuff. And yet you're here reaping so many benefits from that, being part of the program and seeing how it all ties together, because we are overhauling our lifestyle, right? We are doing
Hmm.
all we can to maximize ourselves as a man, as a father, as a husband, and fill in these voids that we didn't know we were creating, and again, I speak from my own experience of that, not having a fucking clue what void I was creating, right? So
Right.
one question I would like to ask, just hearing that insight there, because one of the bits of feedback that I guess causes hesitancy with my approach, my angle on work like this, and what it means for men to go through his transformation, is becoming a pushover, or becoming a man who just does what he's told, or he's bending over backwards for his wife. At any point in the program, with the material, with the sessions, did you feel like, or do you feel like you become a man who's just being told what to do, how to do it? Or actually, do you feel like you stand on your own 2 feet and you see yourself as leading the family forward?
Say I feel like I'm standing on my own 2 feet and leading the family forward. I would say that before joining the program, I was the spineless pushover, you know, just doing what the wife asked me to do, doing what she's said, hey, I need this and this, and just drop what you're doing. Meanwhile, it can inconvenience whatever I'm doing at work or around the house to just make sure she's happy. And now it's the opposite. It feels like growing in confidence, growing in the ability to just care for, lead the family.
I appreciate that honesty. I really do. Because I think that from my own experience, again, I had no idea what it meant to actually be a leader of the family. And I bought into all of the wrong narratives. And now being able to know it different and having experienced it different, it's great to hear that you feel the same as what I do. You know, we stood on our own 2 feet. We're using discernment, making decisions. We feel like we're leading. We've got a backbone that's not oppressive or a dictator or anything like that. It's very much, I'm a gentleman. I'm here to serve my family. I'm here to be my best so I can be the best for them. So it's just nice that you feel the same and you've got that from the program. If you had to sum your journey up in a couple of words or just a sentence, how would you describe the 12-week journey, the Ascension program from your perspective?
I'd say it's an intense transformational journey that only benefits not only you but your family and others around you. So keyword is it's a huge transformation. Eye
Amazing.
opening. Yeah.
Amazing. And I'm grateful it's been that for you. I really am. Grateful that you put your trust and faith in me to support and help, and truly privileged to have helped you get all of this underway, the momentum built, and it becoming real life and a reality for you. The final question I've got, if I may, Ross, is if somebody's watching this and they're on the fence as to whether this is right for them, what would you say to them about a program like the Ascension?
I'd say this is the one program that will change. And if you've tried anything else and it's not worked, this one will work. And the key difference is the man on the camera, Grant, has been through it and he draws from his own real, authentic experience. And that's why he can relate. And that's why you're debating, get off the fence and go all in. That's the big difference is that relatability that you have, Grant. That's what changes everything for me. You've been there, done that.
Yeah, amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I know that it's a fear that a lot of men have because we live in this, like you said before, this clickbait marketing, like it's all or nothing. You have to have these secrets, blah, blah, blah. And then you get no substance behind it. And you've heard me say before that as much as I love and respect working with every man who joins my program, I don't want you to stick around. I don't want you to be here dependent on me long term. And I think hearing what you've got out of this process, this program, feeling like you can stand on your own 2 feet, but also you've got tools that you feel really confident revisiting all the time. That is why I created it. So I'm really grateful that that's been your experience and you'd encourage anybody just to go all in and give it a go. Ross, I want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for sharing all of what you've been through the Ascension. And long may your results continue, sir.
Sure. Appreciate it, Grant. Thank you for all the hard work you had to do, unfortunately, to help the rest of us out. Do appreciate it. It's been good growth. Thanks again.
You're welcome.